Hi there, this is Ranjit and I have this Nexus 6P with me, and in this video we'll be doing the camera review. The rear facing camera is actually a 12.3 megapixel shooter, and it also has dual LED flash, whereas the front facing camera is an 8 megapixel shooter. And I've taken a lot of pictures and videos with this Nexus 6P and I'll show you all of them later on. But before that, let me show you the camera interface. And I also took some pictures with this Note 5 rear facing camera, so we'll compare that to see how well it does compared to the Note 5. And by default, I would say the camera app is again very basic on this Nexus 6P. As you can see, we have this tap to focus, but one thing that I have noticed with this tap to focus is that if the objects are a little bit further, it does very good in terms of focusing, but if the objects are very close, sort of macro shots, then the focusing can be haywire. And I would suggest that you can fix that with some third-party camera apps. I'll show you them later on with samples how effective they can be. But this is the default camera app, and you have this photosphere, panorama, lens blur, and the basic mode. And if you go to the settings in resolution, as you can see, by default it will be in 4:3 ratio. That's the full resolution. But if you want to go to widescreen, it scales down to 8.3 megapixels. And regarding the front facing camera, it's a 8 megapixel shooter. Regarding video, it can record video up to 4K. I'll show you the samples later on. But I would say that if you move around, keep it at 1080p, because at 1080p it has electronic image stabilization. This Nexus 6P does not have any optical image stabilization, but even without that, it does a decent job in my opinion. And so this is the camera interface, and we have this auto HDR mode here. By default it will be on the auto HDR mode, but I would say just enable this HDR plus, because I've noticed that the pictures that we take with the HDR plus come out to be the best. Even in artificial lighting and low lighting conditions, the pictures come out to be really good. So I'll actually now show you the sample shot so that you can judge the camera performance. These pictures were shot with the rear-facing camera of the Nexus 6P in outdoor conditions, and as you can see, in outdoor conditions, the Nexus 6P does a very good job. But let's see how it compares to the Galaxy Note 5. So here are the sample pictures between the Nexus 6P and the Note 5 taken in exactly the same conditions in auto mode. Note 5 pictures are a bit more overexposed. For macro shots, the default camera app on the Nexus 6P is not that great. As you can see, I tried a lot, then also the picture is out of focus, but when I use a third-party app, see the results. Here I use the third-party camera app that is known as A2Z. So if you want better bokeh effects and control, I would suggest use a third-party app rather than the default stock camera app. Recording this sample video with the Nexus 6P's rear-facing camera at 1080p. The Nexus 6P does not have optical image stabilization, but at 1080p it has electronic image stabilization. So do let me know in the comments what do you feel about the video recording at 1080p with this Nexus 6P. I'll just walk to give you an idea how is the stabilization, and we'll also record a small sample video in 4K also in the later part of the video. Recording this video at the highest resolution possible, that is 4K with this Nexus 6P, and I'm just going to walk again. And again, it does not have any optical stabilization. At 1080p it has electronic stabilization, so if you move around, it's a good idea to keep it at 1080p. But this is the sample footage at 4K, and let me just walk back now. And there is a little bit of wind, so this should give you an idea about the 4K video recording with the Nexus 6P. Recording this sample footage with the front facing camera of the Nexus 6P, and as you can see, this is in outdoor conditions. I'll also record a small sample in indoor lighting conditions in the later part of the video. Now moving to pictures taken in semi-indoor conditions, here also the Nexus 6P actually did a very good job compared to other smartphones. As you can see, the pictures come out to be really good. Also in very low lighting conditions, the Nexus 6P actually excelled. These are some of the pictures taken in very low lighting, and as you can see, they came out very good. Now let's see how this Nexus 6P compares to the Note 5 in completely artificial lighting conditions. As you can see, both these pictures were taken in artificial lighting conditions, and I feel again the Nexus 6P did a far better job compared to the Galaxy Note 5 in artificial and low lighting conditions. Now these pictures were taken with the front facing camera of the Nexus 6P, and again here also the front facing camera performance is very good. Also in artificial lighting and in indoor lighting, the front facing camera does a good job. Now recording this sample footage in indoor lighting, and this is in completely artificial lighting in my office, and I have just one tube light switched on. Let me actually switch on one more light, and this is with two lights. So this should give you an idea about the video recording with the front facing camera of the Nexus 6P in completely artificial lighting conditions. So what do I feel about the camera on this Nexus 6P? I have to say the camera on this Nexus 6P is very good. Thanks to that, larger pixels, and it's actually a camera sensor by Sony that was supposed to be used on the point and shoot cameras. No wonder it's doing a very good job. But again, the biggest lacking thing with this Nexus 6P is the camera software. I have to say the camera software is holding it back. But again, if you use some third-party camera apps, for example, I particularly like this A to Z camera, or even this Camera Ingo, you can overcome some of the limitations of the stock camera app, and it does offer us a lot of manual option in situations where you have a lot of control. I would say use third-party apps like A to Z camera or this Camera Ingo. They do offer a lot more options and control. So overall, I would say the camera performance was very good, and in fact in artificial lighting and in low lighting conditions, the pictures that we took with this Nexus 6P rear facing camera were definitely better than the Note 5's camera. So if you are a person who takes a lot of pictures in indoor lighting and artificial lighting, I would say you'll be very happy with the camera performance of this Nexus 6P. But again, make sure that you install some of the third-party camera apps, because the default app is very lacking. I'll also be posting the full in-depth review for this Nexus 6P very soon, so stay tuned to my channel. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.